All right, Evie and I are here to talk about Marathon. Well, it is particularly relevant now, given that the story of the moment is yet another terrible thing happening within Bungie. The story is reported by Jason Schreier at Bloomberg that former Marathon director Chris Barrett and long time Bungie veteran was fired after being accused by 8 women of inappropriately contacting them and flirting with them and wanting to hang out with them and playing truth or dare with them and implying he could advance their careers because he was so high up. He is also married. I don't know the timing of this, but I believe it is at some point while he has been married here. This was taken to HR. There was an investigation, and he was fired. There may be more to it than that, but there is what you can prove and what you can publish. But the end result is the same. And now this has immediately resulted in a lot of Marathon is cooked talk, which I'm not surprised about, but I do think some people may be misinterpreting that he was like just fired now and now Marathon is being thrown into chaos. Like I feel like people may not know the timeline of how this happened. Chris Barrett has been gone for a very long time. This new report says he was fired back in the spring, but that was never really clear. There was an IGN story that revealed that Joe Ziegler had taken over Marathon development. He used to be the Valorant director, and he confirmed that he had been in that job for 9 months at the time that was revealed. And tracing back 9 months before that, that was about a month after Chris Barrett and a bunch of other people were featured in this Bungie Vidoc about the state of Marathon. So he was fired about a month or so after that, and it was never clear what happened there. We didn't even know he was fired at the time. We weren't sure if he was still at Bungie, if he had left. His bio still said executive creative director and listed all the Bungie games. He never commented on it himself. Some employees were told he was on a sabbatical for a time, and Bungie has removed the Vidoc. They have made it private when that was one of just 2 Marathon videos. They obviously removed it because Barrett is so heavily featured in there. For Barrett's side, he gave a statement about he didn't know he was being inappropriate and he considers Bungie family, etc., etc. But that is the situation now. The point is Barrett wasn't like just fired. Barrett has been gone for a very long time, and they have had Joe Ziegler there for almost a year now doing this. I think some people knew this, and some people also remember that some of the reporting was that the game had switched from ultra custom characters to some sort of hero system. That has certainly concerned a lot of people. It's not like a Concord 5v5, hero shooter system, because this is a different type of game. It's an extraction game, and we don't know the details because they won't give us any details. When Joe Ziegler announced this several months ago, I think 3, 4, 5 months at this point, he said more information about Marathon would be out soon. There has been zero information about Marathon other than this reporting that it is supposed to be out in 2025. We literally just have that trailer and the Vidoc, which you can watch it because other places re-uploaded it. I think I saw it where there was an Aztecross reaction video to it, and he was watching it. So like they can't just wipe it from the internet. It did exist. I don't know what the point is in pretending it doesn't exist, even with Barrett in it. Marathon seems very kind of uncertain at the moment. I saw at least one guy from like Insider Gaming say that Marathon is not going well. I haven't heard too much about how Marathon is going. When I was talking to people about the other Bungie stuff, about the layoffs, I heard a lot of people praising Gummy Bears, which is the new project being worked on under Sony, and that is very fun, but not too much one way or the other about Marathon. It's a tough market. I am sure that Barrett's departure did disrupt things to a certain extent, and it sounded like they changed directions to a certain extent almost a year ago. Um, but I imagine when your boss isn't harassing people on your team, that also can make work a little easier. And I've definitely seen some sentiment that people are excited that after that happened, they are just able to. He is sneezing up a storm over there. We're able to focus on the work. Um, Marathon has been said by Bungie that it is once again a make or break project for them, according to leadership. They were also told that about the final shape, and the final shape was great, but it didn't sell like crazily well. All right, quick edit there because I had to check on Evie and make sure she was okay. I don't know what was going on there. Um, as we've seen with Concord, Marathon is entering an incredibly tough market where even if it is not a 5v5 hero shooter, if it is a brand new PvP multiplayer game of any kind, that is still an incredibly tall order in 2024 or 2025 when so many people are sort of stuck in their ways with existing PvP projects, which are continually in development and have been for years. This is obvious things like Fortnite and Call of Duty Warzone, and now Zombies will be back, and Apex Legends, Valorant, games that are now pretty established in the space and have been for years. It is very, very hard to break through that wall. We have seen games like The Finals try. We have seen games like X Defiance try. Is X Defiant even out? I don't remember what's going on with that. And now Concord has, I don't even need to look, it's below 250 players on Steam, and I don't think it's doing especially well on console. So needless to say, Marathon can also be very, very good. And that is not necessarily a guarantee of success. The exceptions to this, there are exceptions, so there is maybe some reason to hope that things can break through from time to time. The two main games that I see breaking through, at least to some extent, are Marvel Rivals, which is in some ways very much an Overwatch clone, except it is using Marvel superheroes and very fun character kits and very cool aesthetic design of those characters in an era where aesthetics are important, and it is also pretty hard to do, Marvel designs that stand out and are cool, but they've done it, and it's very impressive. The other game, of course, is Deadlock, which launched the same day as Concord, it wouldn't have mattered, honestly. I don't even know if Valve was aware Concord was launching, honestly. That is a new Valve hero shooter that is very, very good. It has 90,000, 100,000 players already, still under an invite-only system. A lot of talk about how it's the next big thing. I think it's way too early to actually say that, but obviously the interest is there, and it's Valve. It's a Valve shooter. I think the idea here is there are things working for Marathon. That trailer, the aesthetic is awesome. I really, really like the aesthetic. I think it stands out over many other things in the industry. I've heard even after Barrett left, that aesthetic is still in place. There wasn't like some big art overhaul as far as I can tell. And it is unique. It is not just trying to be a 5v5 hero shooter. It is trying to be a AAA extraction game in a market where that's like Tarkov is the main thing, but it's also not really supposed to be like Tarkov. And then it's a Bungie shooter. Say what you will about Bungie and its various problems, but Bungie makes good shooters. They made Halo, they made Destiny, which, Destiny itself has its problems. Shooting is not one of them. Gameplay is not one of them. That gameplay alone, I would say, maybe not alone, but gameplay has been the driving force behind why Destiny has been successful all this time. So I do think it has some things in its favor that maybe other games in the genre don't have. I don't know if people at this point are as excited about a new Bungie shooter as they would be a Valve shooter. I don't think that's probably true. It does not have Marvel superheroes. Well, Marathon is not technically a new IP. Like, the amount of people who are, old enough to remember Marathon and have played that are not the target audience that Bungie is going for here. And even if they will carry over lore in some designs and characters and things, it's essentially a new IP, so that is difficult. The timeline seems questionable, given just how little we know about this, how it's just not been previewed at all. There's been these very, very, very closed playtests with players under full NDAs, so we haven't heard anything meaningful out of those. There was some alleged leak, and then that had to be reverted, and I don't know how the validity of that. I do think there is a key point here that it is time to start talking about Marathon. I mean, not like tomorrow, given the Barrett stuff, but at this point, when you released that stuff ages ago, and then you said you were going to start talking about the game soon, and it's been months and months since that happened. It is time to start revealing what you're actually doing, especially this hero shooter aspect where you are going to have to reassure people that perhaps it is not as bad as they fear. You're not just doing Overwatch heroes or Concord heroes, or there's some sort of difference there or way it's going to stand out within this kind of genre. Like that, I think, is the stuff you need to be talking about. Though, if it is like that and it is not what people want to see, then you could get a Concord reaction where as soon as that debuted and as soon as it was revealed as a 5v5 hero shooter, just interest tanked. And that was the beginning sort of its death knell. I think it is way too early to say Marathon is cooked. The Barrett stuff is terrible. Like, the main focus of that is on the women coming forward. But Barrett leaving 10, 11 months ago or whatever it's been now has been something that happened way back when. And, I don't think that has affected anything about development since, in terms of like delays and things like that. There were some directions changed and whatever, but it's not like it just happened and now everyone, like tomorrow they got to scramble for a replacement and all this. So like that did happen a long while ago, which I think some people may not realize. Again, it's too early to say. There are things working towards its advantage, but ultimately there are huge barriers, which is mainly just involves breaking into the PvP market with any new game. Quality doesn't necessarily matter. Like, Concord is a perfectly competent shooter. Like, if you've played it, I think there is fun to be had, but you're not going to play it over any of your existing shooters that you've already invested dozens, hundreds, even thousands of hours into. Like, it has to be something really, really crazily special. I do think Bungie has the potential to do that. I think they have delivered the impossible before, but they're not always rewarded for that. The final shape was, I think, is pretty much as good as they could have done it, and it still didn't, allegedly perform the way it needed to. So it's a brutal industry, and even, kicking ass and making something awesome is no guarantee of success. So I don't think it's all doom and gloom, but you have to recognize it is a incredibly difficult path forward, and it is time to start talking about it to some extent, as I think Bungie should realize. If that's in a month, whatever, but like before the end of the year, I would start talking about your game that is supposed to be out in 2025. So we'll see what happens. This is yet another very shitty thing to happen within Bungie. I do not think it will be the last shitty thing that is revealed about Bungie. We will see. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.